Hi, welcome to the crop, and this is our first video and our first challenge. So what we're going to do is step by step, I'm going to be making a set of nestled gift boxes. I have just the basics when I was playing around, so I want to show you. I was just stapling, so you're not going to want to staple. But at the end, see, they will all sit together. There is actually three. Ignore this. Then you'll have a lid that fits the top. But there'll be three, and you can also stack them. So they will also be stackable, and you'll be able to use these for different gifts. This is like this because I was figuring out all the different sizes. So I would have them for you when we did the video. When you make them, you want them to be stackable. Let me turn to the side. So that at the bottom, you might want to put a candy gift. The middle, you could have, well, you know, another gift of candy or treats, and then the top could be your gift card if that's what you're going to be using them for, or you can just use them for decoration. They're really pretty. Now when I make my gift boxes so that they will have the pattern paper and you don't have to do any other work with it, I prefer the Cartabella paper. Cartabella, if you've been using the cardstock, you know is strong, extremely strong and durable. They've got a wonderful construction paper. It's great for building things. Not only your albums, if you make albums and cards, it's great for that. And I'm going to use the Christmas time. Another reason I really like using the Christmas time collection for this is not only the weight, durability, you do have the set of stickers. So I have this in the store, and it is on 15% off. So if anybody wants to purchase it, it is 15% off for our crop, and it's already been marked down for you. But then you'll have the stickers that you can use. Really cute stickers to put on your boxes. And you probably already have tons of paper at home, so let's not go out and buy boxes when we can make them, and I'm going to show you, and it's very simple. So I've chosen three different papers that I want to use. Oh, here they are. Let me put these ones aside. This is such a pretty paper. So I chose my three pieces, and the insides will be decorated all ready for you. You won't have to go back and do anything. And I'm going to use the craft cardstock by Cartabella for the lid. So it'll give it a little coordination, and there'll be a ribbon that ties it all together. So I'm going to pick out my first piece that I'm going to use for my largest box. So you'll need three pattern papers, and if you're going to do a plain lid, it'll save your pattern papers, but you do need two pieces for each box. And I want to show you, I did get the new Craft Bond Elmer's glue, and it is cordless, so it self-charges that I'm going to use to put my box together. You can use score tape or a wet adhesive. The reason I purchased this is when making flowers, you get all the strings, and this is supposed to be a different kind of glue, and it doesn't have all the string, I call them string boogers. And so far, I'm loving it. It is a little more expensive, but it's great. I can grab this, and I use it, and I'll tell you what, it lasts a long time. The charge does. Then you've got to stand, just put it down while you're working, put it back on the charger so it can reheat itself. And it seems to be working great. So let's get started. For our first box, you're going to cut your first sheet of paper for the bottom at 9 3/4 by 9 3/4. So I need to come over here to my cutter. And you do want to be pretty exact on those measurements. Now for your lid, you're going to cut your lid at 5 7/8 by 5 7/8. I'm going to just use the small one right here. It's easier and quicker to read those markings. So it's just the marking after your 3/4, just an 1/8 short of the 6-inch mark. And you actually should be able to get more than one lid out of your cardstock. So we're going to start with our first piece, and I'm going to turn it over. It's going to be a little bit hard to see with the pattern paper, but we're going to score all four sides. We're going to just go in a circle at 3. So I'm scoring at 3, and just keep turning it until you get back to the beginning. And I do have to score twice with this Cartabella paper. If you've never used it, it's great. It's so sturdy. So I'm going to go ahead now with my box lid, and we're going to score 1 inch, just at the 1 inch mark. Just going to push harder this time. There we go. So we have those 2 pieces for our first box. So we can go ahead. I lost my cover. How did I lose the cover to my scoreboard? Well, that's not a surprise for me. Okay, we're going to go ahead and just lightly score up. It's sitting on my cutter. They're both blue. I couldn't see it sitting there. Okay. So I'm just lightly scoring up. I'm not burnishing those edges yet. So make sure you want your outside, whether you want it to be the outside or your inside. And I may change this. It looks like we may have some upside down with the numbers, but I think that's okay. Yeah, I think it's going to be okay. Now, you can use your cutter if you're not, if you're not sure you can cut really straight. You want to use your cutter. Always start with that at the top. Well, no, you don't have to start with it at the top, sorry. And because this is hard to see, if you're using a pattern paper and it's hard to see, just make a mark where your score line intersects that first little box. And line it up, and you're going to go, this paper is nice and firm, it's hard, so I'm going to actually just cut them, but you would just go to that mark and pull back. But I'm going to cut mine by hand because this paper is heavier. And I'm sorry, I'm off camera. I'm just having to straighten that up there. And it might be easier for you to cut it by hand if you can't quite see the marks. I'm done. So let me see if I can see them better. I can see them better over here. So I'm going to just cut up the middle. Then you want to turn it the complete opposite. Don't cut these side lines. We're going to do the same. And like I mentioned, the beauty of using a heavier cardstock that's already patterned on both sides, it's going to save you a lot of work this holiday season. So now we can do a little bit more burnishing our edges. And now you want to go ahead and bring 2 sides up and see what that's going to look like. Because if you hand cut, you may find that it overlaps here just a little bit, which I don't like. So I will end up cutting that here in just a minute. We'll trim it. But I'm mostly checking to see that I like the way it's looking, and it's going to be a little bit upside down, but some of it's not. So I think it's just fine. But what I'm going to do is this middle section on each one, I'm just going to trim a little bit more off. Before I, put my adhesive down, I want to make sure that it's pretty straight on these edges. So I'm going to cut both sides. And now we can check this side. So it looks good. It looks like you just need to straighten this one up a little bit. And one thing that I've done this year, I've been making these boxes, And I've been making some other little things to keep at my door, so when neighbors come and they bring a gift, and I have them all ready. I've wrapped them in cellophane, and they're just sitting on my entry table so that I will be ready to give gifts when they show up at my door. So if you're using, if you're using score tape, you're going to want to go ahead and score tape around here, because you need to bring this up, and then you're going to score tape here. So both these ends, go ahead and score tape so when they come together. Now, say you don't like the pattern with this piece on the outside. You can go ahead and play with it and then overlap, but just so you know, you will have a seam. That's why I take my two ends in and my flap up. And once again, two ends in and flap up. So you want to also just bend these in, adhesive or score tape, bring them together. And if you're using hot glue, you do want to look, you're going to want to work fast. Oh, and another thing with this Elmer's hot glue, it's clear. I love it. There's no yellow. There's no, I mean, it's clear. You're seeing it come out clear, and it is clear. It stays that way. So I have to admit, they did perfect that. Now, if they would just perfect the price. As with any adhesive, turn it over and score down on the inside. So now this is going to be a little, you know, tougher because we've already brought our sides in. So I just pushed my sides in. Either remove my score tape or add your adhesive. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead with this. Hold on. I'm going to use a clip to hold that little guy back. Tell you what, cutting my thumb yesterday makes it hard to work. Need another glue stick in there. Then we're going to take this one off and do the same. You don't have to be perfect with your hot glue when you're making your boxes. It doesn't have to go perfectly around your perimeter because it will hold. And there you have your first box. Okay, the lid. We've already gone ahead and scored it the 1 inches. So once again, taking your cutter or scissors, just score. And it's up to you. You can go ahead and lightly fold on those lines. Now, remember, just go here and then straight across. Do not go here. You're going to lose that middle. I mean, you'll lose your corner. So do not cut that corner out. You need that corner. That's what's going to make our box. And once you, well, some of you may already know how to make boxes. I know that I was so excited when I learned how to make boxes years ago because it really did. I could run downstairs, put a gift box together, and I knew I didn't have to go to the store. And I could also do a little gift bag. So if you're just doing a small gift, we're going to be doing gift bags. And so our theme today is gift bags, boxes, and cards. So once again, we have these little corners. So I'm just going to apply some adhesive here. Probably, I knew that was going to goop out that corner. So I'm going to just remove it. That's another thing too I noticed with this hot glue gun. It does have some forgiveness. Unlike your others where when it hits, it's stuck. And I am still learning how to gauge how much glue I use. But you can see there are still some strings, but not like they weren't. I mean, they were terrible with my other gun. So now I'm not going to use quite as much. I'm just going to actually put a little dot in the center. dot in the center, and a dot in the center. And I also love no cords with this glue gun. Well, you have a cord for your base. It just sits there. So there we have our first box. We have a lid that fits. Now let's make our second box. Now our second box, of course, you want to go smaller. So we're going to cut our pattern paper, which is this one for me, 9.5 by 9.5. Okay, for the lid. And you should have a square left over already from when you cut the last lid. We're going to cut it at 5 and 5/8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're going to stop just before the 1/2 inch mark. No, sorry. You're going to stop just before the 3/4 mark, not the 1/2. And once again, we're going to score on our box 3 inches on all 4 sides. Whoops. Let's see. Okay, that will be a little easier for you to see. Now your top, 1 inch all the way around the perimeter. And we're just going to repeat. I think I'll go ahead and do a little more burnishing this time. Actually, for this one, I am going to have the green on the outside, because the other pattern paper will go on top. Okay, so I'm going to cut now, straight up. And straight up again. Now for the challenge, because I mentioned at the beginning, this is one of our challenges. Your challenge will be to create the stacking boxes, and then you'll need to have them posted on the Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations page. And everything will need to be posted by Tuesday night to be in the drawing. And for our nestle boxes, our first drawing, well, no, I take that back. We're going to put everything in, sorry, because we're going to have 2 drawings. We're going to just, before when I would do the crops, we would do a drawing for each challenge, but then there was not enough, you know, things posted to make it fair to do a drawing, because usually there's only 2 or 3 people, and those 2 or 3 people had won some of the other drawings. So I'm putting all names together for this holiday crop, and then I will just draw 2 names using random.org. Can't get a hold of this, using random.org. And then we will have 2 winners, and one is going to be for the Carpe Diem planner, which I am not a planner person, but since receiving my planner now, I use it. I absolutely love it. Well, I can't get that corner for some reason. There we go. Okay, now we can get going. Now remember, if you're doing your score tape or your adhesive, it's these 2 flaps. And if you are thinking that you maybe want this glue gun, or you want to ask Santa the house for the glue gun, it is available. The only place I have found it is on Amazon. I'm not sure. I know it because it is quite new. But personally, I love not having the cord. I have such freedom here. Bring that up there. And I should have put that little guy in first, but your boxes are movable. So let's go ahead and go around this edge. And that's another reason I love putting these together with glue guns. You don't have to be precise on the edges because it's going to hold. Now, as you see your box come together, isn't it gorgeous? They're just a lot of fun. So here we have the lid. And if you put a tag hanging off of the ribbon after you stack them, it can also double as a Christmas card. Okay, now remember, just the other end right across. Do a little pre-forming here. Okay, I'm just going to add a dot there. Line up. And I think when Elmer's made this glue gun, they did make it with the crafter in mind. Oh, you can use regular glue sticks in it. When I first got mine, my glue sticks didn't come. And so I did use regular glue. So you don't have to use their new formulated glue sticks, but as you can see, it cuts down on those strings. And it is actually quite easy to clean and strong. So there is our box number 2. See how they're starting to stack? Box number 3. Okay, let's go ahead and cut our pattern paper. 9 1/4 by 9 1/4. Now your other piece, so one piece of your other paper will do your lids. So we're going to cut this lid at 5 3/8. Now this is the 1/8 just before, little mark just before your 1/2. And let's get to scoring. So once again, 3 inches on all 4 sides. Don't you just love the big marking? I love the markings on the score pal board. It's so easy. Now for our lid, the 1 inch again. Okay, we'll start with our box. Now I'm going to double check my sides. Okay. I'm going to cut on this side so we can see better. So we're going to cut just up there. And this time though, I'm going to go ahead and just cut my other side now because I know it's not going to fit. I'm having trouble grabbing a hold of that. this time. There's my other ones. Sometimes these are easier to use. So I'm just going to go ahead and, I know it's not going to fit perfect. That's why I'm just going to do both sides now. And you will have a little space in between there. You know, more so than if you just cut it straight up. Now I'm using, we're getting in the Authentic paper line, and there's a cat and dog one. It's so pretty. Some of you may have already seen it in some stores. It's called, I believe, Darling, and I'm going to make some of those boxes. My neighbor just that moved in next door, they've gotten 2 13-week-old Great Dane puppies. So I'm going to make the boxes out of that, and I'm going to fill it full of homemade dog bones. They're so cute. Nothing like puppies growing into horses. They're going to be big. So I'm just checking, and even though I trimmed that, I need to trim a little bit more. The video is going to stay up on YouTube, so if you have any suggestions on cutting these corners or sides better for me, let me know. I am always open to your suggestions. We learn so much from each other when we share. Okay, once again, here we go. Let's get our adhesive on there. See how nice and clear that glue is? I love it. My little clip down there. Trying to keep it so you can hopefully see. Okay, now over here, I am going to get just a little bit more glue on this corner. Okay, our lid. So you can sit down, and I'll post these measurements again for you. You can sit down and make quite a few stacks of boxes in 1 hour. I think I made 5 sets in an hour. Because when I'm working, you know, I don't talk to myself, well, very often, but I'm able to just boom, boom, and get them all out. Now, if you're doing craft fairs also, boutiques, these are great. And you can make them in any theme. Another fun theme is, of course, Mother's Day, to make the stacking boxes. Gosh, Valentine's is going to be a fun one. Fill them full of candy, gift certificates, all kinds of fun things. If you have grandkids, they'll love these. You notice we do more for our grandkids than our own kids. Okay, there's the lid for our third box. So when they're standing up, they'll be stacking boxes, and of course laying down. This isn't the color that I'll choose, but this is the one I grabbed. So this is some of the seam binding, and I love the seam binding on these boxes, or you can use a really big bow because I can crinkle it So I'm going to bring it up. Let me see if I can get the camera up. My desk is now so I'm going to bring my boxes up. Now they will all fit inside of each other also. And I'll lay these down. So after you get your boxes, you might want to decorate, make some tags. If you're using the Cartabella, one of the paper collections, then you're going to have plenty of leftovers. Now I'll take this down like this when I'm doing it for a gift because I want it to hold, especially if I'm going to mail it. You know, this thumb is driving me crazy. And then I would crinkle up my seam binding. But there, sorry, that's not exactly the designer look, but it's the quick look so that you can see how these are made. Aren't they cute? Now you have your own set of nestling stacking boxes, because if you're going to make these for yourself and you want to use them as decoration, maybe on your kitchen table, then you can put them all in. You can't use the lids, I found, but you can put them all together, and then you can actually just store your lids because they just won't fit. So you can just set those two, stick these in a drawer, put these away for Christmas, and then you can bring them out next year. So there is our stacking boxes, and I hope you really enjoy making them and can't wait to see what everyone makes. Now remember, this is a challenge. This is challenge number 1. So you'll want to get your boxes made, decorated, all pretty. Then you're going to post them back onto the Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations page, and then you will go into the drawing for the Carpe Diem planner, and it is a pink planner. Mine, I'm going to show you, is the platinum. So this is going to be for the drawing. Isn't this exciting? And I absolutely adore it. I've added everything in here to keep track. You can write. So everything will be blank, but you'll get all these inserts. And you do get a pad of paper here on the back. Sorry. And there's some extras too that come with it, that if you're interested, you can get them on Country Craft Creations in Hooper. You've got a nice spot here that you're going to be able to put your cards in. So you can take this with you. You can put bills in there. You can stick a checkbook. And don't forget, challenge number 1, you want to get all your challenges up so that this will be the first drawing that we're going to do Tuesday night. So let's see your boxes. Bye-bye.